What do you get when you combine dual motors, comfortable styling, and awesome colors? You get the HiKnight H2 e-bike. If you'd like to learn more, then continue watching. Is this one beautiful color or what? But let's jump right into the specs. Starting off, the power of this thing is a removable, bottom-mounted, 52-volt, 20-amp-hour Samsung battery, which powers front and rear dual 1,000-watt hub motors that do peak out at 1,500 watts with a combined total output of up to 3,000 watts. This does have a payload capacity of 380 pounds, and it does weigh in at 80 pounds. Has an advertised top speed of 38 miles an hour and an estimated range of up to 90 miles. Now that is on single motor use, pedaling with a lightweight rider on flat terrain. Real world, realistically, you're probably looking closer to getting 60-65 miles of range, which is still respectable. It does have hydraulic disc brakes for stopping power, rides on large 26 by 4-inch wide fat tires, and has multiple color options available besides this gorgeous teal blue. Over here at the controls and cockpit area, we have a few buttons to work with. So we do have a dedicated headlight button right there, turn signals, which are integrated into the rear tail light, horn button, single and dual motor dedicated buttons. So when the button is out, it is single motor. When you depress it, it's dual motor. Control module here, we have your power button. That headlight icon is just for dimming the screen for nighttime riding. Plus and minus for your pedal assist, eye for information, and if you long press the minus or foot, that's walking mode. So to power it on, we're going to long press the power button right there. It is pretty bright out, but the display is visible. It's a full color display after it boots up. You do have your battery meter right there, fully charged with 5 bars. Miles per hour shows your pedal assist 1 through 5. And right now it's on trip showing 3.4. To cycle through the menu, all you do is hit the I button. There's odometer, max speed, average speed, voltage, and back to trip. And if you do long press the plus and minus button, you do get a sub menu where you can change the different settings, which are all labeled in the manual. On your right hand side is your Shimano 7-speed gear system and a half twist throttle right there. And in case you're curious what the horn sounds like, here it is. Now coming over to the front, we do have a pretty large headlight, plastic front fender, front fork suspension, then our front hub motor and front hydraulic brake system. Behind this flap is your charging port. If you do want to charge the battery while it's in the bike, you could do so right there. And if you want to remove the battery, all you do is unlock it right there with the keys that it comes with. But the keys are not required to power on the bike. Rear cargo rack, rear plastic fender, and seat suspension. I will say the seat is pretty good. I'll give this a 4 out of 5. I wish it was a little bit wider, but as far as cushion goes and comfort, it's definitely a solid 4. And back here is your tail light, brake light with built-in integrated turn signals. Now, as you can see, this is a step-through model, so very easy to get on and off, especially if you're a shorter individual. Me being 5'11", I can step through, step over, not a problem at all. Once you are seated though, it is a nice, comfortable, relatively upright position. You are leaning over just a slight bit, but overall it is more upright and it feels solid when riding. It's well balanced. I'm able to ride this hands-free for a long distance. And also everything's at your fingertips. You got the half twist throttle, your shifter, your horn, headlight, turn signals, dual single motor button. Really easy to operate. And like I said, a beautiful, beautiful looking bike. I absolutely love the color. Out of all the e-bikes or e-scooters I've ever reviewed, this by far is my favorite color right here. We now know what this bike has to offer as far as features and specifications, but how does it ride? How does it perform? We're going to find out in just a second. Also, as I've stated with every other review, no e-bike I've reviewed is perfect. Some of them do have more flaws than others. After riding this for a few times, I have come up with a few pros and cons which I feel you should be aware of before considering buying this. We'll talk about that later on in the video. Right now, let's gear up and do a test ride. All right, we're ready to rock and roll. Now it is a windy day, so audio may sound muffled or choppy or weird at times. That's out of my control. I will do my best to talk loud enough and when the wind is not so gusty, but we're gonna start from pedal assist 1. Just give it some throttle and start moving. Single motor use. Now, the one thing I have come to learn with this bike is that, at least in single motor use, torque is minimal. It's a really gentle acceleration. So if you are looking to climb a steep hill, not only are you gonna want some momentum, I would probably recommend doing it in dual motor use. But it's really gentle. It's not gonna throw you off the bike by any means whatsoever. So it's nice and easy to have a nice controlled, slow, but ample acceleration from a zero stop. I'll kick it up here to pedal assist 2. Then you should really start feeling the power kicking in here. Definitely a windy day today. Want to mention this has a cadence sensor, which means the motor kicks in as soon as it feels the pedals start moving. So if I start pedaling, there's about a 2 or 3 second delay, and then you feel the motor assisting you along the way. It's also worth mentioning that the throttle and pedaling is proportionate to the pedal assist mode. So 1 being the slowest, 5 being the maximum power, top speed. So your throttle and pedaling will work off of that. But right now we're going to do single motor, pedal assist 5, 0 to top speed, throttle only. Here we go. And like I said, really gentle acceleration. If anything, a little bit too low at times, especially if you're on a hill. But I have full throttle, no pedaling. Okay, we're at 20 miles an hour. 21, 22, 23. And there's a brake check. I will say the first couple times I rode this, the brakes were feeling a bit soft. They're getting broken in, they're feeling much better. So single motor, we're topped out about 24 miles an hour. Let's go to dual motor. Single press of a button, I absolutely love that. And we should notice higher acceleration, higher top speed. Here we go. Okay, so gentle start, and then now I can feel the power. It's really pulling me here. Okay, we're already at 24. 30, almost. Yep, 30. 31. I think we topped 32. Okay, so this did not go anywhere close to the top speed of 38 miles an hour. We topped out at 32. Now I will give a little bit of a buffer here. I am a heavier guy. I'm around 235, 240. The ground is a bit soft and saturated. It's not completely level, and it's windy today. I think ideally you may hit 35 under the right conditions, but that is what I'm working with my testing here. Now obviously it is fun going faster, cruising with just throttle, especially in dual motor, but that's going to consume the battery much faster, so you need to be mindful of that. But the fantastic thing is to take it out of dual motor, just a single press of a button. Now I'm in single motor. Now I've reviewed a lot of dual motor e-bikes. Some of them are easier than others to disengage dual motor use. Some of them require you to press a particular button or buttons a number of times. Some of them, actually one of them I should say, forced me to come to a stop and go through the sub-menu to go from single to dual motor use. Really inconvenient. This by far is the best way to disengage single and dual motor use. One dedicated button right there. You can't beat it. So if you're riding right now and say you're gonna come to a steep hill and you know you need that added power, press the button and there it is. And there's the power. Now, even after these speed runs we've been doing, battery hasn't moved yet, which is good. This would be a great bike too for city use, rail trail use like we're doing today, even some off-road adventures. And if you are coming behind people, you want to alert them, right there, nice loud electronic horn. And if you are doing some city or even group riding, you do have the turn signals in back, so anyone behind you is going to know when you're braking, when you're turning. How does it feel as far as comfort? Well, as I stated, it's a well-balanced bike. It is windy outside, moving a little bit, but it feels stable. I'm not completely upright. I'm not hunched over real low. It's kind of right in the middle. I think, you know, after a long duration, you may feel a little bit sore in your back or shoulders, but for the most part, it's a nice, comfortable, neutral position. But the fact that it's step through makes it even easier to mount and dismount the bike. Now, personally, I'm not a fan of half twist throttles. I find that after a long riding session, especially if you're doing a lot of throttle, my hand does get sore and tend to cramp up. I prefer a full twist throttle or a right side thumb throttle. So just keep in mind, it is half twist throttle, but if you don't do a lot of throttle riding, it's not going to matter whatsoever. One thing I can tell you though is that it's night and day between single motor and dual motor while you're accelerating, because right now I'm keeping the throttle steady, single motor use. If I hit dual motor, there's the added power. So there's a huge difference between single and dual motor use. And this is the first bike I've ever reviewed that has such a slow, gradual buildup. Not that's a bad thing, it's just different from what I'm used to. I still cannot get over this color. This thing is so vibrant, especially when the sun hits it. Best color ever of an e-bike. There are other color options available, but I think you'd be a fool not to choose this one. This one, even if you don't like blue or teal, it still looks so good. I do want to talk briefly pros and cons, just to get them out of the way. And if I didn't share this with you, I wouldn't be doing my job as an honest reviewer. So these aren't really issues, these are things that stood out to me. One of which we already talked about, and that is the low torque setting or low torque issue. It's not an issue, it's more or less a characteristic of this bike. Me personally, I am used to bikes with higher torque settings, especially from zero start to acceleration. Some have higher torque, some have lower. This is the lowest one I've ever come across. Is that a bad thing? I don't think so. I think it's just worth noting that this bike does have a lower throttle response from zero start. If you are a new e-bike rider though and are worried about an overly powerful bike or potentially whiskey throttling it, you're not going to have the issue. This is going to be a nice, gradual, controlled acceleration. The other downfall, which I've said for every other e-bike that doesn't have it, is a lack of a USB port. I feel every e-bike out there, even scooters, some of them do have it, is a USB charging port. There's nothing on the display, nothing on the control module, so you can't charge your phone while riding. Now we also learned it doesn't do the advertised top speed of 38 miles an hour, but for me, that's not a huge concern because most times you're not going to be riding that fast. This did get up to around 31, 32 for me, which is plenty fast. And honestly, most trails like this, the speed limit is 25 or less depending on where you are. So unless you are, trying to do road speed with traffic, there's higher speed bikes out there. But the bike still did everything I wanted it to do today. It didn't let me down in any way whatsoever. Did it do a fast acceleration? No, but it did accelerate. It topped 30 miles an hour. For the pros though, I've also said some of those as well. It's a comfortable bike. It's a beautiful color bike. It has a lot of great features such as the integrated turn signals and brake light, bright headlight, horn button right there. But my favorite feature out of everything on this bike is this red button right here. That single dual motor activation button. You don't have to jump through hoops. You don't have to jump through submenus. Whether you're at a standstill or riding, you have instant access to engage or disengage a second motor with a single press of a button. I feel that every dual motor e-bike out there should have what this bike has, a dedicated button for that second motor. It is worth mentioning to check with your local municipality though to see if this bike is allowed where you are. It does fall well under the 100-pound weight limit, but it does still have a 1,000 watt motor. It's okay. So you can limit your speeds through the pedal assist modes, but it's still a higher output motor. At the end of the day though, my pros and cons are my opinion only. I do try to be as authentic and genuine as possible, and if something does stand out to me, good or bad, I do make sure to share it with all of you. I do want to thank HiKnight for reaching out to me and allowing me to share the H2 with all of you, one of the best looking bikes I've ever seen, and hopefully you know by now if this bike is possibly the right one for you. To get more information on the latest pricing, check the link down below. Otherwise, thanks for watching, safe riding, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.